A lot of seven-figure founders are quietly quitting their own businesses. They are not burnt out because they lack effort. They are burnt out because they lack leverage. And this is an intro of a post that I made a couple of days ago on LinkedIn that gathered a lot of attention and conversation came from it. And this video, I really wanted to break down a bit more about what I mean when I say that a lot of seven-figure business owners are quietly quitting their jobs or quietly quitting their business, and what that means for you and how you can actually avoid that from happening to you, because it's a pattern that I've seen happen over and over again, even more recently. It started out in 2025, beginning of 2025, and has become even more common and more visible now in 2026. And I really wanted to peel back the layer on why that's happening and how you want to position yourself if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a founder who is ambitious, you want to scale to a high extent, but you are also having this feeling of, am I actually cut out for this? Am I actually able to scale at the level that I actually aspire to, without burning myself out, without feeling like I'm selling my soul, or without even getting to a place where I've fallen out of love of the business and I'm just doing this because I have a team, I have some statues that I want to keep, and actually so the goal of this episode is really to share with you how you want to engineer and think about your business so that it doesn't become a burden, because sometimes we spend so much time working on our business, building these babies, because that's what a business is, like a digital baby, right? And it can get to a point where the baby turns into a monster and kind of want to kill you, because it deprives you from any peace, any joy, and even the sense of purpose that you started out with kind of fades away, fizzles out. And the reason why I was inspired to make this video is because I'm in a couple of mastermind where I get to speak with, multi-seven-figure business owner, eight-figure business owner as well. And in my line of work, I literally speak with founder every single day, helping them scale their income, their impact to the next level. And so it's a conversation which I was having very recently with one of my peers in a mastermind who was, business coach, had built his business multiple seven-figure. And he was just like, you know what, Joly, I'm tired, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like it. I don't like it enough to keep on doing it. And it really reminded me of a conversation which I had last year in December with a client of mine, an executive coach. During one of our coaching sessions, he was like, you know what, I feel like I'm just getting drained. I feel like I want to do something else. I'm not sure if I still want to do this. He had been doing executive coaching for the past 12 years and was just in a season where he was kind of confused in terms of which direction to take. And one thing which I want to share with you is that more often than not, when this feeling happens, it's typically because you are in front of founders which have built their business around their brand. They've scaled their business around their ability to shop, around the ability to be visible, and do the heavy lifting. And so it comes to a point where you just have that quiet hesitation and you feel like, even though I'm passionate, even though I love my people and I want to keep on serving them, I just don't have it in me anymore to keep on going. And it happens so often because typically when we start a business, we start out scrappy, right? You started scrappy, you find a thing that works, you found the perfect, offer, market fit, you understood your niche, you picked the platform, you started creating content, you started diving into marketing, you grinded, you hustled, and you made it happen. And you started having money coming in, you were able to increase your lifestyle, you got status, and people started calling you, the X guy, the X girl, the millionaire maker girl, the ads guy, the content strategist girl, whatever the YouTube ads or the Facebook ads girl, whatever your niche is, the fitness coach girly. And then it becomes, at first, it feels incredible. You are that authority in your industry. You are known for something, and people come to you and they respect you, they admire you. But if you are not really careful, as time goes by, something shifts. It shifts slowly, and you go from a place of that exhilaration of being like, wow, I'm categorically in my niche. I'm the top dog, I'm the top girl in my niche, to getting in the place where you are like, I'm the machine. If I stop, this whole thing crumbles. I feel like I can't excel. I feel like I can't pivot. I feel like I can't talk about anything else but what I've talked about for the past 10 years. Even though I now have other interests, I want to talk about different things. I have other things that really light me up. But since I've really built my house, my empire around or on this foundation, I feel like I'm stuck. And if I move, I'm just gonna lose everything. I'm gonna lose the business, I'm gonna lose the reputation, I'm gonna lose the credibility. And it's a very common place. And let me know in the comment section if this actually resonates with you, if it's a season where you are either going through or you found yourself in, because it's more common than you might think. I've actually also myself, I've actually there's been season, right, where I've considered, okay, should I, am I over with this thing? Do I keep on going? So if you are feeling that way, you are not alone. And something which I want you to realize is that if you build the business around you and around your ability to show up, and there's no way for the business to keep on growing unless you keep on showing up, you don't really have a business, you have a job, you can quit, and that's typically what leads brilliant, successful founder to quietly quitting and to quietly resenting the very business that they've built. So all of this because they lack leverage. So let's talk about leverage and what actually it is and how you can actually make sure that you have it in your business so that you never get to a place where you resent your business. And I also want to talk about why most founders confuse leverage with just working smarter, because they're not the same thing. And leverage is not about, it's just not about doing less. It's about building systems that produce results without you having to add any input, right? It's how can I make sure that regardless of my input, I have an evergreen machine that allows me to get consistent output so that I can sleep well at night because I know I have to build something that can stand the test of time. And it's literally the difference between being the engine behind your business. It's the difference between being the engine versus being the architect of the business. And if I want to break it down, you probably know about the law of Pareto, the 80-20 rule, where 80% of your revenue typically comes from 20% of your actions. And most infopreneur business owner know this intellectually. That's something that we've learned, we've heard 1,000 times. But I actually want to remind you how that looks like in reality. You want to make sure that you're actually spending you want to make sure that you're spending most of your time on the 20% of things that actually move the needle. The thing which I see the frustration comes quite often when founders start spending a lot of their time, 80% of their time, in actions that barely move the needle. And at the end of the day, they are burnout, they feel like they are spinning their wheel, they're in this revenue race that they feel like they can quit because they have no system that can handle growth without them having to put in more inputs. So that's the first thing. The second layer of this part is really understanding that 80% of your growth is going to come from those systems. It's going to come from 20% of your system and of your team. So if you have, and I've seen it so often when I've worked with hundreds of sales team and looking at performance and how they operate, and we typically see them in the sales team that if you have like 5 sales guy, 80% of the revenue is typically driven by one of them. It's same with marketing. When we launch campaign, typically if we launch 10 campaign, we're gonna have 2 that really crush it. Or if you launch 10 creatives, you're gonna have 2 that really knock it out of the park. So again, here, 80% of the growth is coming from 20% of the team of your system. So if you don't have the right team, if you don't have the right system, if you don't have the right strategy implemented, if you don't have a way of understanding which metric matter and how to optimize them as time goes by, you are going to find yourself in a place where you feel like you're at capacity, you are putting more in the engine, but you're getting diminishing return. And you're like, what the heck? And it's even more frustrating because now you're spending more on whether that's team or whether that's marketing or whether that's system tools, right? But you never really go past yourself or go past yourself because you lack the ability to really understand which actions are actually driving the biggest growth in your company. The third layer of this is really understanding that 80% of your peace and just ability to excel and enjoy the process and enjoy what you've built is going to come from 80% of your priority. And that's really where the my company. That's really our biggest focus, because the whole purpose of what we've done, or what we do when we work with clients, is really allow them to scale without having to sacrifice their peace or their sanity. Because I know what it feels like to hire someone that you trust, a growth partner that's going to come in and help you, support you with your growth, but still feel like you have to micromanage. You can really rely on them to be there fully and help you get to the next level. It can be quite frustrating. And that's typically why most business owner equates hiring, working with, agency or growth partner as, okay, this is gonna be headache, it's gonna be painful, it's gonna be stressful, a lot of back and forth, which doesn't have to be the case. And it's not the case when you choose the right partner, when you have the right filter, when deciding who to work with. But I really want you to understand that depending on what lifestyle you picture for yourself, you want to build your business around the lifestyle. You don't want to accidentally build a business that doesn't align with your lifestyle, because that's the fastest way to start presenting the business. And we are all different. If you've ever taken a personality test, for instance, the DISC personality test, which is super variable to take. So you have DISC, that tells you, depending on which letter you get, tells you what type of person you are and what type of business you can even build. Because sometimes we follow influence online, we follow those business gurus, and you're like, oh, because this guy is making this much money, I'm gonna make the same. That's gonna be my target. Or because this girl is having this lifestyle, I'm gonna have, that's now my blueprint of how I want to live mine. But is that really aligned with your core value? Is that really aligned with how you see yourself in a couple of years? Because there's nothing more miserable than building something that you become a prisoner of. And ultimately, the reason why you started the business is because you wanted more money, you wanted more freedom, you wanted more impact, you wanted an ability to be there for those that you actually love and that matter the most. And it's quite unfortunate when those become the price you pay, like leaving those behind becomes the price that you pay to get to that goal, whatever the number for you is. So making sure that your priority are in line with your vision is really going to make sure that you have the biggest space, because sacrificing doesn't really feel like a sacrifice when you know that it's worth going towards. It becomes really painful and becomes really stressful when you are sacrificing something for a goal that doesn't really matter to you. So if let's say that you are a mom and you really see yourself, having this family and be present for your kids and watch them grow and be there, support them, and for when in occasion that truly matters, and then you end up building a business and you end up scaling the business that costs you that time with your kids. Now you start resenting the business because it was never the plan. You've set up a machine that's not aligning with your value. That's really key to understand those things as you choose your growth partner, as you choose your business model, as you choose the way in which you actually structure your offer and how you position yourself in the marketplace. And next, one thing that I want them to come back to in terms of, okay, how does leverage actually looks like in practice? It means that you actually have a predictable client acquisition engine that brings in qualified leads without you having to personally hunt them, without you having to be there and create the content and post on TikTok and dance on IG Reels and be 24/7 on your stories, documenting your entire life, because that's not sustainable. It means that you have a marketing system that works while you are off, while you are doing things that truly matter, while you are charging yourself, while you are healing or growing personally with your family and or writing your next book, hosting a retreat, going on a sabbatical, whatever the case may be, you have systems that are there to support your growth in any season that you might go through. And when I talk about the scaling season, it's not always about, okay, I'm just always going to be in grind mode. That's never the purpose of the podcast, or that's not the vision of this space. The scaling season means that you want to scale your ability to actually have an impact. You want to scale your ability to have revenue beyond your physical presence. You want to scale your ability to be that impactful leader that drives the best out of the team. It's not about, okay, I'm just gonna be grinding and hustling 24/7 for the rest of my life. That's not sustainable, because you end up paying a price that's too high, whether that's your health, your relationship, your peace, your sanity, and it's not just worth it, in my opinion. So building that system and understanding that you have an insane amount of clarity around what are the highest value action that truly drive the growth. What are the things that only I can do, and I'm just outsourcing everything else. I'm delegating the rest. I've built a structure that protects my time. I've had people in place that allow me to buy back my time and focus on what truly matters. Because if you build an engine, or again people or system, of course, because in the age in which we are living, AI needs to be part of your team. Absolutely. So, and that actually means that as you evolve as a leader, as a person, because your business is not a house of cards, it doesn't fall when you look away. Because you've thought about it from the minute in which you started building. So the part that I really want you to sit with is that the business coach I mentioned at the beginning that quit, he was like, I'm done. I've made multiple times here, but I don't have it in me anymore to keep on going. He didn't quit because he was lazy. He didn't quit because he lacked ideas on how to keep on getting clients. He quit because he had no leverage. He had built something that was absolutely tied to him being the face of the brand, being the guy that will help, his audience get to this revenue level. His identity, his content, his strategy, his pipeline, all of it was all about him. And he was the main driver. And there was no separation between him and the business. So, of course, when he got to his own in his life where things change, personal priority became important, his health became important, he couldn't take a step back to focus on those things without that affecting his business. So he was just like, you know what, I can't do this anymore because I've built a monster. I've built a monster that's destroying my health, that's destroying my relationship, that's destroying my spirituality because I don't have time to focus on those things anymore because I'm always working, I'm always grinding in the business 24/7. I can go out to get enjoy the smallest thing because I'm always in the office, I'm always working, I can't see my family, it's not worth it. And that's a very dangerous position to be in as a founder. Because typically we have this ego, when you launch the company, you're like, no one can do it better than me. And even when you hire, you don't trust people that you've hired. You don't trust their ability to lead. You don't trust their ability to take things off your plate. So you're always there. You are micromanaging. You are trying to do all things, wear all hats, and you wear it as a badge of honor. You're like, oh, I'm doing all the things. I'm wearing all the hats, not knowing that that's actually the fast track to getting burnout. And what nobody tells you in this game is that the version of you that has built $1 million business is not the same version of you that's going to get you to $5 and $10 million. It's simply not. You have to be able to evolve. You have to be able to let go. You have to be able to become a better leader and learn higher level skill. As you start, the biggest thing is, okay, I need to know how to sell. I need to know how to market. I need to know how to create content. I need to know how to hire, how to vet properly. Okay, those are things that are very important as you start. But as your company evolves, you have to realize that, okay, now I need to put people in place that are going to take those things off my plate so I can actually become the visionary. And you can only evolve. Your income is on your revenue is only going to be able to evolve past a certain level if it has a life of its own. If it's not entirely dependent on you and what you do and how you feel and what's happening in your life. Because if it's only if your company culture depends on how you feel that day, you're never gonna be able to get to 5 million, to 10 million, to 30 million. Because everything is built on you. And once something cracks, which it always does, welcome to adult life. Life is gonna be lifing, right? Lives for every one of us. That's just fact. We go through challenges, we go through loss, we go through setback, we are hurt, we go through healing seasons and all the things. So how do you position yourself so that when those, not if, but when those things do happen, your entire business doesn't crumble? You don't need to take like 6 months or 1 year of sabbatical just to get back to, baseline. And And unless you've built that engine, your business is not going to stand to withstand the test of time, because you're always going to get to a place where you stop because you are dealing through something, and you take back up. You stop. You get back on. And when I talk about longevity, it's not just about saying, oh, I've been in business for the past 10 years. I've been doing this for the past 15 years. It's about, okay, how have you been enjoying the process? How committed are you still to serving your audience? How likely is this business to grow without you if, shit hit the fan? Can the business grow without you for a season? Or do you always have to be there to make things happen? Because ultimately you want to choose a business that you can grow with, depending on which chapter of your life you go through. Single, married, getting a baby, growing a family, raising the kids going to college, you prioritizing your health, whatever the case may be. You want to have those foundations so that as time goes by and as you evolve, which we all do as human beings, you can reinvent yourself, sure. You can pivot, absolutely, but you don't have to kill the business for that to happen. You don't have to be like, oh my God, I'm just done. I'm burned out. I can't do this anymore. I love my client. I love what I do, but I just can't keep on doing this because I'm just completely burned out. So if you're watching this and you recognize yourself in what I've shared, and you're stuck at that $100,000 mark, revenue mark, and it's been months you've just keep on getting the same revenue level, you are weighing all the hats, you feel like the moment you just take a breather, everything falls apart. The moment you go on 2-week vacation just to clear your mind, you come back and the revenue is down. You have no you you have no predictability in terms of where the leads are coming from, how qualified they're going to be this month, if you're going to be able to hit your sales target. It's just like a roller coaster every single month. I want you to realize that the answer is not to work harder. The answer is not to post more content, it's not even to work smarter. It's not to take on more clients. The answer is to actually understand what's the 20%. What's the 20% that move the needle? What's the 20% that moves the needle that only I can do and that no one else can do? And how can I protect fiercely what I can do while delegating everything else? How can I reduce what I need to do to the maximum, and so that I'm empowering my team to be able to step up if needs be? How can I create system so that if something happens, I can actually duplicate myself and still be visible, even though I'm personally going through things? How can I surround myself with partners that are experienced, that are skilled, that I can really rely on to drive the vision forward if I need to take a step back? Or even as I'm actively working on the company, how do I build those systems? How do I have a team that's trained internally? How do I have, trustworthy partner that are leading the vision with me? And for my client, that always start with, where is our current acquisition system leaking? What are the bottlenecks that we're currently experiencing? And how do we remove those bottlenecks? Because when you have a predictable, sustainable, evergreen acquisition system that are bringing you the right clients consistently and profitably, of course, everything changes. You stop making decisions from scarcity and you start actually leading from clarity. You stop being in that reactive mode, just waking up and putting off fires, to being the visionary, to be able to strategize, to be able to look at the business from a higher perspective, 360-foot view, instead of always being working in the business. You're able to take a step back and, understand, okay, what's the plan for the next 5, 10, 20 years? How do we want to grow? How are we expanding? Which system do we need to have in place? We are building something that can actually outlast you. You are building a legacy business that you can actually pass down to your kids if they want to take over. You can take a month off to write a book. You can take this trimester to write your book. to deal with family thing, whatever, without everything crashing down. I've seen so many brilliant founder just have the business crush down in front of their audience, or just quitting because they just couldn't handle. They had built the entire system around themselves, around their personal brand. And as much as we're in love with personal branding and being the face of the brand, as we move forward, the smartest and the most, those are gonna have the biggest longevity are gonna be the founder who are actually able to grow their business beyond their personal brand. They're gonna have the personal brand, yes, but they're gonna have system in place so that even if they can't show up, fully, they are still visible because they have system in place. So, because the biggest risk, I think I've heard Alex or Moses say this, the biggest risk of your business is not the economy, it's not AI, it's not even your competition. It's you building something that you eventually stop liking. It's you building something that you start resenting so much that you don't even see a purpose in trying to make it work anymore. And leverage is how you prevent that from happening. Smart leverage is how you prevent that from happening. Systems are how you prevent that from happening. Building a business that works for you, having partners, growth partners that are supporting vision is how you prevent that from happening, not the other way around. So if this landed for you, and I'd love to know in the comments, what's one area of your business that you see is the bottleneck, and how are you actually going to, or what are you planning to do to actually overcome that bottleneck? Let's talk about it. Let me know what's the biggest bottleneck in your business right now, or what's something that you feel like if you were to stop doing, the business will crumble. It has to be you. And identify all of those things. That's also something you might want to do at the end of this episode. Identify all of the things that you feel like, if I didn't do this, my business will just not survive. Maybe it's recording the content, maybe auditing the video before they go live, reviewing the ad copy, checking out the funnel, writing the emails. The more you have on that list, the more fragile your business is. The goal is to reduce the list of things that depend on you for the business to be able to survive as much as possible. Because there might come a season where you need that take a step back, and you don't want you taking a step back to mean that the business is going to fall apart altogether. So if you're looking for a partner to come in and help you with client acquisition, building solid system, leveraging, social ads, paid media, optimizing your entire acquisition journey, that's what we do all day and every day for clients. We work with hundreds of entrepreneurs and helping them really scale to multiple 7-figure, 8-figure in revenue in their business. So we'd love to learn more about how we can support you in that area. If there's a need, there's going to be a link in the comment section. We are amazing at what we do. You can read the reviews, they speak for themselves. And I will see you on the next episode. Until then, keep on learning, keep on building, but build with leverage, scale with leverage, and not just by, grinding it out. I will see you on the next one.